So the 9 to 5 job, that shit can be some of the most irritating shit in existence, right? Because here's the thing, right? There's something that you're here to do. There's a purpose that you have in life. There's something that you're here to express. There's a particular temperament that you're here to work with, meaning that you already have a natural energy signature that you're intertwined with that you're here to express. Now, if your work environment doesn't suit that energy signature, right, then that might really throw off your mind. That might really throw off your energy and stuff like that, just due to your, spirit, due to your mind wanting to go in a different direction to expand itself in a particular fashion, because that's what you're here to do in this particular lifetime, at this particular time and stuff like that. But whenever you're at a job that doesn't support that temperament, doesn't support that energy signature, you may find yourself extremely irritated or extremely just pissed off and angry and stuff like that. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, because we live in an extremely Saturnistic world that worships structure and building and the Saturn energy, basically and shit like that, right? It creates this idea where you kind of have to like sacrifice yourself to these things that are really meaningless at the end of the day. Like the word mortgage, for example, just for one example, right? The word mortgage itself is like a French word that means like death sentence and shit like that, right? And you got a lot of people that are sacrificing themselves for these mortgages that really don't even make no sense at the end of the day. Like when I look at our mortgage that quite frankly we have to quote unquote die for and shit like that, the shit doesn't even make any sense. When I look at the property that we purchased, it doesn't even make any sense. But because of the nature of the world where you have to compete with other people as well to have some type of stability within the world, then you're kind of like almost forced in a way to jump into it, because by default, hey, this is the direction that the world is headed, then, and you're within the world, that's probably the direction that you're gonna head as well. So it's a world that really worships the material, and a lot of the times the material itself is used to enslave people and stuff like that, from the perspective of hey, you need to survive, you need to work, so you need to do this XYZ. And a lot of the times when we present ourselves with these things being the only options, we may limit ourselves from other options and stuff like that, right? So here's the thing, right? If we're at 9 to 5s, we also have to be honest with ourselves, right? What got us in that 9 to 5 in the first place? Like I know for me, for example, one of the reasons why I jumped into that 9 to 5 was just out of fear and shit like that, right? Because I knew my parents, okay, were putting pressures on me. I was like, okay, you know what? You have to pay the bills. Hey, you have to help with the mortgage, blah, 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 blah. So what I did personally was I made a decision out of fear. And I'm like, you know what? Let me go become a truck driver, because I hear they can make good money from being a truck driver, right? But that didn't match my temperament of creativity. Because me, I'm into a lot of imagination, if you look at the stuff that I post and shit and stuff like that, spirituality and stuff like that. Being a truck driver doesn't suit that temperament, doesn't suit that character, doesn't suit that way of how I like to fashion my work, my schedules and routines and stuff like that, right? So it doesn't suit that. So automatically, when I reacted and responded to that situation of the world and needing to meet that out of fear, I jumped into the wrong situation, and I started to work a job where it doesn't necessarily allow me to do as much of that, right? So you got to take responsibility as well, right? We can just sit here and blame the world and be like, oh, you know what? This world is a bad world. Fuck this world. It's all the world's fault. And here's the thing, right? There is such thing as, elites, people in positions of power that know better, so they should do better and stuff like that, especially when it comes to the education system and all that. And, we can go down that line of reasoning and stuff like that, right? But we're just here to, realize, okay, we may be at where we are at right now, but there is still a way for us to get out, right? Because, hey, if there's a way in, that means there's a way out. So that just means we have to implement the solutions to our problems rather than focus on the problem and make that problem bigger and bigger and bigger. Because yeah, sure, we can get on here complain, but at the end of the day, if you really want to do your purpose in life, if you really want to do what you're destined to do, if you really want to express that fashion within you, you're gonna have to do it regardless, and you're gonna have to go through more resistances than ever, because a lot of the times we could have done this stuff when we were younger, but we may not have done it just due to distractions and shit like that, depending on your situation. I don't know people's situation, I don't know people's circumstances. Everyone is different, so everyone's situation is different and stuff like that, right? But you really got to look at why did you jump into that in the first place? Why did you make a decision that is against you, right? That's another thing. why do something that you know is not in your best interest in the first place, right? So you got to really look at what was the subconscious underlying motive to jump into something of that nature in the first place. Because if you're opposing your own nature, then that's a problem, right? If someone is against themselves, that's a problem. And we may not look at it that way, but a lot of the times, like, it kind of is that way. Because we may believe, okay, we need this job because we need this money, and that might be true. But at the same time, there's a bunch of other ways to get money that we may not be privy to, just based upon us not, we may not come from an entrepreneurial background, so we may not have the concept of, creating value and stuff like that. Because wherever you spend your time, that's gonna be the value that you replicate, right? So if you produce value, you're gonna create some type of work. That work can become your status, and that can become something that you share with the world and stuff like that, right? So yeah, man, for real. So yeah, let's get out of this bullshit.